It seems in just with our human bodies and probably all mammals' bodies, that sometimes there's an issue going on that seems completely and entirely unrelated to something else that's happening in your life. And constipation, that's definitely my mom. But when you were talking about the clamping down, and you were talking about the inability to then relax, right? Whether it's pelvic dyssynergia or something else, I'm wondering about stress and the gut, and stress and not being constipated. My mom's a high stress woman. She's definitely from that generation where your job is to worry. And how stress affects the gut, but most importantly, going to the bathroom, and how much that is playing a role in people's frustrations around that potentially.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad that you're touching on this, because this is a very super important topic. And going back to the growth strategy, G.R.O.W.T.H, I just want to run through super quick what these are, because I'm starting to feel like we're going to be bouncing around a little bit, and I don't want people to, I want people to kind of see the full picture, and then we're going to zoom in.
Awesome.
So we talked G is for Genesis. R-O-W, I put these 3 letters together because this is the approach that you take to identifying what causes your food intolerances. You can't do a blood test for this. There's no test that's reliable. The gold standard is this: restrict, observe, work it back in. When you follow that sequence, withdraw, see how you feel, add it back in, see how you feel. When you follow that sequence, you can actually identify what foods are causing trouble for you. So T stands for train your gut. Once you're empowered with the knowledge and understanding of what specifically foods, like what foods cause trouble for you, then you have the ability to actually overcome those challenges and restore your gut to health, where foods that you don't think you're capable of eating, or at least you think that you're only allowed to eat so much of it, it's actually you're fully capable of consuming those foods without restriction. You just need to properly train your gut. Let me like make a quick analogy that I think will hit home for you guys. Did you wake up as a great, were you born to compete in the Olympics and be a great athlete, or is this something that you had to work on? I realize that the answer is so obvious.
Yeah, the second.
Yeah. So marathon runners, they don't just wake up and run a marathon, right? You don't you need to actually build towards this. You have to properly challenge your body, and you do small incremental challenges. And that's what learning is.
Yeah.
And your gut is learning. It is learning right now. And it can be whatever, you can teach it whatever you want it to learn. But the way that you do that is actually by challenging it. You can't withdraw from it. You can't run away from it. That would be effectively the equivalent of saying, I want to be a runner, but rather than running, I'm going to just sit on the couch.
So when you say train, though, is that, I've heard you talk about how we need to train our body to know when to get regular by sitting on the toilet for 5 minutes a day. Is that what you mean by training?
Well, so training your gut, in this case, what I'm referring to is training your gut microbiome to tolerate all foods.
Sorry.
Making it so that you are able to basically eat without restriction and have no limitations. Now, you can train your gut to poop on a regular basis. I appreciate you for bringing this up, where for a person who's constipated, they can sit on the toilet for 5 minutes every day in the morning and actually train their body to poop at that time. But within this acronym, the growth strategy, training your gut really is intended to be about overcoming food intolerances by slowly increasing the amount of food that you eat of those foods that you struggle with. So anyway, the last letter, which is where I wanted to ultimately get to, is H, holistic healing.
Holistic, okay.
Which is to say that your gut does not function in isolation. And it is not simply proteins, carbs, and fats coming into contact with enzymes. When a person is stressed, I think we've all been there. You have acute stress, you're freaking out, and then what happens? Most of us, the answer is going to be some sort of digestive symptom.
Mm.
Gas, bloating, pain, diarrhea, constipation. It's going to be one of those for most of us.
Or we at least feel it in our stomach, like butterflies or clenching or something, even in the
Totally.
moment of stress. Yeah.
But and there are some who get migraine headaches, right? There's actually a physiologic basis for what I'm describing. If you were to go inside your body, what you would find is that in that moment of stress, your brain, the pituitary gland, releases a hormone called corticotropin-releasing hormone, CRH. And this CRH initiates a cascade of stress events in your body that if you follow this waterfall down, at the end of it, you will discover that it has injured your gut microbiome. Now, this is fine for occasional stress. That's not an issue. That actually has its advantages. That's why we evolved to have it. But this is problematic when there is perpetual 24/7 activation of the stress response because of something that's happening in our life. And one of the things that I've observed is that I've seen, so my medical practice in the last few years was basically filled with people who failed with other doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And they come to me almost like, look, I don't have hope, but I want to give it a chance with you. And many times these people are doing everything right. Eating the right food, sleeping, exercising. Like, I can't hand them a copy of Fiber Fueled and expect them to get better. That's not going to happen. They're already eating the Fiber Fueled way. Yeah. What's the problem? It's not these things. It gets back to understanding the root of the problem. We go full circle all the way back to Genesis to say that there may be something in your life that's negatively affecting you and holding you back. And if we can create a plan to address that specifically, we can actually fully heal you. Mm-hmm. Quick little story. I hope you guys don't mind. Actually, one of the last clinic visits that I had with a patient, it was someone that I had been seeing for 2 years. She has ulcerative colitis. So this is an autoimmune disease. The immune system is actually attacking her intestines. And this is a young woman. She's single. She wants to date. She's not comfortable with dating because of the 24-hour-a-day diarrhea that she has. She wakes up at night to go. I had been trying everything within my power to help her for more than a year. Of course, I told her to eat a more variety of plants. Of course, like I did, more sleep, more exercise. It's not working. She comes to my office. I walk into the room and I look at her and I instantly see that she's different. She's got a smile on her face and she looks very calm and at ease, not anxious. I sit down and I ask her, what's going on? She says, you're not going to believe this, Dr. B, but I actually am all the way back. And I was jumping with joy on the inside, but I had to ask, what was it? Because I have been dropping the ball for 2 years. What was it? And she says, I never told you this, but I have been terrified of my job for the past few years. Oh. Every single day when I would get into the car, I hated it. I would go in and my boss would publicly demean me in front of my peers. And it made me feel less than human. And I finally had the courage to walk away. And I found a new job and they treat me with respect. And here's this person in front of me and her ulcerative colitis is in remission. She didn't change her diet at all. Wow.
That's such a good lesson for all of us to keep digging. If it's not working with all the prescriptions, it's something else.